The internet thrives on scandal, and few stories have the potential to set it ablaze like the swirling rumors surrounding Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Kelly Rowland. Imagine the devastation of discovering your spouse's infidelity, not with a stranger, but with your childhood best friend, someone you've shared dreams, secrets, and stages with for decades. That's the explosive narrative gripping the online world, centered on the Carter Knowles universe, with layers of betrayal, speculation, and heartbreak that rival the emotional depth of Beyonce's Lemonade. The whispers suggest Jay-Z may have had an affair with Kelly Rowland, Beyonce's lifelong friend and former Destiny's Child bandmate. Even more shocking, some speculate that Kelly's son, Titan, born in 2014, might not belong to her husband, Tim Weatherspoon, but to Jay-Z himself. These claims, fueled by fan theories and social media sleuthing, have sparked a firestorm of debate, with timelines, lyrics, and grainy photos dissected for clues. While none of this is confirmed, the pieces of the puzzle, combined with the raw emotion of that infamous 2014 elevator incident involving Solange Knowles, make it hard to dismiss outright. The story begins with the visual evidence fans can't stop analyzing. Social media platforms buzz with side-by-side comparisons of Jay-Z and Titan, Kelly's son. Observers point to similarities in their facial structure, nose shape, and even subtle expressions, arguing it's more than coincidence. The timeline adds fuel to the fire. Titan was born in November 2014, the same year as the now iconic elevator altercation at the Met Gala, where Solange was caught on camera lunging at Jay-Z, while Beyonce stood calmly to the side. The grainy surveillance footage became a cultural phenomenon, endlessly memed and analyzed, yet no one ever got a clear explanation for what triggered Solange's fury. For years, fans assumed it was tied to Jay-Z's rumored infidelity, with Becky with the good hair from Beyonce's Lemonade becoming the prime suspect. But what if the betrayal ran deeper? What if it wasn't a random fling but involved someone as close as family, Kelly Rowland? Solange's reaction in that elevator felt personal, visceral, like a line had been crossed that couldn't be undone. She's always been the fiercer, less polished of the Knowles sisters, unafraid to speak her truth. If she learned her brother-in-law was involved with her sister's best friend, it's easy to imagine her reacting with such intensity. And Beyonce's calm demeanor in the footage doesn't scream shock or surprise. It feels like resignation, as if she already knew the truth and was letting her sister handle the confrontation. The timing of Titan's birth and the elevator incident raises questions. Could Solange have been defending not just Beyonce's marriage, but the sanctity of their family bond, fractured by a betrayal that cut deeper than any tabloid fling? Then there's Lemonade, Beyonce's 2016 visual album that shook the world with its raw exploration of infidelity, pain, and redemption. The project wasn't just music, it was a cathartic purging of betrayal. Songs like Sorry and Hold Up painted a vivid picture of a woman scorned, with lyrics that felt too specific to be fiction. The infamous line about Becky with the good hair sparked a witch hunt, with names like Rita Ora and Rachel Roy thrown into the mix as potential culprits. But neither of those women carried the emotional weight to justify the level of hurt in Beyonce's voice. An affair with a peripheral figure in their world doesn't quite fit the narrative of a wound so deep it required an entire album to process. Kelly Rowland, however, changes the equation. She's not just a colleague or a casual acquaintance. She's family, a sister from the days of Girls' Time, the precursor to Destiny's Child. An affair with her would be a betrayal of trust on an unimaginable scale, explaining the scorched earth intensity of Lemonade. The speculation doesn't stop there. Fans have long pointed to the dynamics within Destiny's Child, particularly the role of Matthew Knowles, Beyonce's father and the group's manager. Stories have circulated for years about his alleged favoritism toward Beyonce, often at the expense of Kelly and other members. Insiders claim he ensured Beyonce got the best verses, the most striking outfits, and the spotlight in performances, while Kelly was relegated to the background. There are even whispers that he redirected opportunities meant for Kelly, solo deals, endorsements, creative input to his daughter. This kind of treatment could breed resentment, especially for someone as talented as Kelly, who was often overshadowed despite her contributions to the group's success. By the time Destiny's Child disbanded, Beyonce was positioned as a global superstar, while Kelly's solo career, though respectable, never reached the same heights. In 2013, Kelly released Dirty Laundry, a song that peeled back the curtain on her struggles. The lyrics were raw, detailing a toxic relationship, professional jealousy, and the pain of watching someone close to her soar while she grappled with self-doubt. She sang about abuse and feeling inadequate, but never named the man at the center of her story. Fans scoured her public dating history, but none of her known exes seemed to fit the profile described in the song. This led to speculation that the relationship was secret, someone she couldn't name without risking everything. If that someone was Jay-Z, it would explain the need for silence. Exposing an affair with him wouldn't just disrupt her life, it would dismantle the carefully curated empire he and Beyonce had built. Adding another layer to the drama is Jay-Z's history of dodging paternity claims. In the early 2000s, a woman named Wanda Satterwhite claimed she had a brief fling with Jay-Z in 1992 when she was 16 and he was 22. She alleged she became pregnant, giving birth to a son, Ramir, in 1993. Wanda spent years trying to get Jay-Z to take a paternity test, but he consistently refused. After her death in 2019, Ramir continued the fight, publicly accusing Jay-Z's legal team of stalling and manipulating the courts to avoid accountability. The refusal to engage wasn't just about child support. Some argue it was about protecting the billion-dollar brand Jay-Z and Beyonce had cultivated. An underage mother and a potential secret child could unravel their carefully crafted image, especially if the timeline overlapped with Jay-Z's rise to fame. The parallels between Wanda's story and the Kelly rumors are striking. Both involve allegations of Jay-Z fathering a child outside his marriage, with the potential to destabilize his empire. If Titan were indeed his son, it would explain the secrecy surrounding Kelly's pregnancy and her relatively low-profile marriage to Tim Witherspoon. Fans have noted that Kelly rarely speaks about her husband in the glowing, public way one might expect, and their relationship has often felt more like a pragmatic arrangement than a passionate love story. Could it be that her marriage was a way to stabilize her life after a scandalous affair, giving Titan a father on paper while keeping the truth buried? The elevator incident remains a pivotal moment in this saga. Solange's outburst wasn't just a random act of aggression, it felt like the culmination of years of tension. Her protective streak for Beyonce is well documented, and she's never been one to play by the industry's rules of silence and decorum. If she suspected or knew about an affair between Jay-Z and Kelly, her reaction makes sense. It wasn't just about defending her sister's honor, it was about confronting a betrayal that struck at the heart of their family. Beyonce's stillness in that moment, often interpreted as shock, could instead reflect a woman who had already processed the pain and was letting her sister express the rage she couldn't. The fallout is evident in the subtle shifts in Beyonce and Kelly's relationship. Once inseparable, their public interactions now feel staged, lacking the warmth of their earlier years. Destiny's Child reunions, like their 2013 Super Bowl performance, were professional but lacked the genuine sisterhood fans remembered from the group's heyday. Social media sleuths point to body language, stiff smiles, minimal eye contact as evidence of a fractured bond. Even in interviews, Kelly speaks carefully about Beyonce, praising her talent but rarely delving into personal anecdotes. It's the kind of distance that suggests an unspoken agreement to keep things civil for the sake of their shared history and public image. Jay-Z's own response to the speculation has been characteristically calculated. His 2017 album 444 was billed as a confessional, addressing his infidelity and personal growth. Tracks like the title song offered apologies and reflections on his mistakes, but he never named names or provided specifics. To some, it was a masterclass in damage control, vague enough to seem vulnerable without confirming anything that could further damage his legacy. Critics argue it was less about accountability and more about reshaping the narrative, ensuring he emerged as a flawed but redeemable figure. Meanwhile, Beyonce's Lemonade laid her pain bare, with no ambiguity about the depth of her hurt. The contrast between her raw honesty and his measured response only fueled speculation that the truth was messier than either was willing to admit.